Welcome to another episode of the Man Cave Chronicles.
Welcome to the party, pal!
You're my boy, Blue!
Yo, Adrian!
A podcast with interviews of amazing guests from the world of pop culture.
Oh, yeah!
TV.
Nice!
Movies.
Oh, I love the movies!
Comedy and more. From deep inside the Man Cave, your host, Elias.
Melina, welcome to the cave.
Thank you so much, Elias. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for joining me today to talk about the 5th Annual Future Stars Gala in the LA County High School of Arts, Thursday, April 28th. It's got to be an exciting time for you to come out and promote this.
It's really exciting. I have to tell you, the hyphenate is LACHSA, Los Angeles County High School for the Arts. And basically, as you know, I'm an actor, and my life in Ohio as a Greek American kid growing up in a small town, Akron, Ohio, and I loved performing. I started performing in our Greek Orthodox community at the church and and all kinds of stuff. And I did plays and musicals at the all boys school when there wasn't enough of a musical or a performance or a play at my high school. I would go to the other schools and perform. And when I was at a public high school, so I didn't have the facilities, like there wasn't a drama club. I didn't have an acting teacher. I had a vocal teacher, like a choir teacher, but I didn't have any of the tools that LACHSA provides to our students. And it wasn't until my youngest daughter, my oldest daughter, is kind of mad that I didn't know about the school. She's an actor. She's in her last year, or finishing up her junior year in college in musical theater at Pace, and she was really upset. She goes, "How come Karina gets to go to LACHSA and I never heard about it?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, honey, I never heard about it." Basically, this is a free public school with a conservatory program for artists. And I'm talking about vocalists, piano players, cellists, drummers, filmmakers, actors, painters, sculptors, you name it, dancers. We have 5 different departments. Our kids are from all over the Los Angeles County area. Some of them come 2 hours to get to school. They'll take a train and a bus. School starts at 8:15. Regular math, science, and English classes go from 8 in the morning till 1 in the afternoon. From 1 to 4, it's conservatory program for the arts. So if like my daughter was a music major, she was there doing performances, musical theater. She was part of the vocal jazz ensemble, and she was there till sometimes 11 o'clock at night, but had this incredible training, that I would have chewed my arm off in Akron, Ohio for this kind of training. So when I got to know the school and I saw it with my own eyes, my daughter got to score films and work on her own music and make movies, be the actor in them, make the music, write the music. She performed at Hollywood Bowl, had all these opportunities. Our students, her class last year had $7.5 million in scholarships to college. Wow. And we have probably, I would say, it's a 90% college, going on to college rate, and the other 10%, some of them just go straight into the professional world in their art field. Our student base, our background, the socioeconomic background has nothing to do with acceptance. These kids have to audition. They get into the program based on their talent, and we have a lot of kids that are on fixed incomes. The majority of our families make under under $100,000 a year. So we have, when COVID came around, we provided computers and, special equipment so they could dance and do everything. And everything that we do outside of, LACO pays for the actual program itself, for the science, English, math, but everything else for the conservatory, all our arts teachers, we have to raise that money with grassroots events. Like on April 28th, we're having this big gala, and basically we have to raise $3,500 per student in order to pay for the private, the kind of education they're getting for free. And these kids are so incredibly talented. Some of our alumni, it would blow your mind. From Josh Groban, I'm not sure if you know Kahindi Wiley. Kahindi Wiley is the artist who did the portrait of Obama. He's one of our students, our alumni. We have Angel Blue, who's an incredible opera singer, Corbin Blue, Taran Killam, Andrew, the Haim sisters. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Phoebe Bridgers is a graduate of our school. So we just have this incredible group of artists who still to this day collaborate. I know that Andrew Chappelle, who met Taran Killam while they were doing Hamilton on Broadway, backstage went, "Where'd you go to high school?" "Oh, I went to LACHSA." And the other guy, and they're like, "I did too." And basically now they're hosting our show together, and they're doing a movie that Andrew wrote.
Oh, wow.
And Karen is directing, and Esty Haim of the Haim sisters is scoring the film. And they're shooting it at LACHSA. And what's really great, and what makes me as an artist just so excited about this high school, is that these are people with established, fabulous careers that are coming together with their high school, friends and collaborating. And that's what's really beautiful about LACHSA. And we just have so many kids, and some of them that had that arts foundation and then went on to become doctors or lawyers or, anything else they wanted to be. And, it's a tremendous school, and I'm so proud to be on the board, and I'm chairing the event again. I've done it for the last 3 years, and if anybody that's in your world listening to this podcast loves the arts and wants to support future artists, please, and is near Los Angeles, please come to our event. I'd be happy. Come up to me and say hello. We're going to have an incredible group of people. We have, I don't know if any of you, it might be like showing my age, but because I'm from Akron, another insane group, which was very popular when I was a kid, was Devo. And Mark Mothersbaugh has a love of art schools and funding arts in the public school arena, and getting arts out there for kids from all socioeconomic backgrounds. So he is performing with our kids, doing a special presentation, and there might be some red hats involved. So I'm excited.
You mentioned that the kids, the students have to audition to get accepted into the program. Like, how many openings do they usually have throughout the year or in the fall?
Well, yeah, basically, you're pretty much as a freshman, that's when you start your audition. You want to get in as a freshman. There's all kinds of opportunities that we have a summer program for kids that are in elementary school and middle school. If they want to learn a little bit about the program, there's a whole summer camp-like program in each of the divisions. There's five areas of study: dance, theater, music, visual arts, and cinematic arts. So it's kind of like a major kind of a thing where you can audition for 2 programs, obviously figuring out which one is your favorite. There's approximately 40 spots in, like, for example, my daughter was in vocal music, and they took about 20 kids, 10 girls and 10 boys. But each grade, but then that's just vocal music. There's also, instrumental, and, we have a huge orchestra. We have an incredible jazz program, both vocal and instrumental. There's a contemporary music, recording music program. Again, like my daughter got a chance to do scoring because a lot of the programs intermix and collaborate with each other. So you can be in the musical, for example, and be an acting major or a theater major or a music major. You can be for all of it in cinematic arts. It doesn't matter what program you're in because, design. So we have about 130 kids per class, per grade, that encompass all the 5 departments. And again, a lot of these kids, one of my favorite stories is a few years ago, there was a young man who graduated. His parents were both immigrants, and the mom was cleaning houses, and she brought her son along, and somebody heard him humming and singing. And she said, "Oh my gosh, you have to have your son audition for LACHSA." And he did, and he was literally 2.5 hours away from the school, and he would get up and take 2 trains and a bus, or 2 buses and a train, and get to school and work on his craft. And he graduated and had scholarships everywhere, like everywhere. He ended Juilliard, and it's such an amazing school, and the training they give these kids. And he had his pick of schools to go to, and amazing. Ordinarily this kid wouldn't have had that opportunity. And it's a melding of hard work and but these professors, these working artists that are teaching artists, they really just nurture and guide these kids in such a positive way. And college is the option. This is it's great because it's a great public school education with a conservatory background. So yeah, I'm in. I just, anything I can do to help the school, I get very excited about it.
That's great. Yeah, because last night, because I knew I was going to talk to you today, I was doing some research, and I saw that a couple articles that they wrote that this is like the #1 high school for this in the U.S.
Yes. We originally were the #1 free high school.
Okay.
It was done on private versus public, and that's when my daughter first started going there, and I was like, well, wait a minute. If they have all they're some of the people we're in competition with, they have a college tuition. It's like $65,000 or $75,000 a year for these parents to send their kids to this school. And ours, we have no budget. We're raising our money, and then about 3 or 4 years ago, we took on the title as the best art school in the country, regardless of being a private or public institution. So it just makes me proud because I've been on the board of the foundation for 4 years now, and we've just worked really hard to make sure we give these kids as much as we possibly can and let them thrive. And I think the best sales pitch I have for this school is that the graduates end up becoming my colleagues. Taran Killam and I did when I was doing Providence, the first series that brought me out to Los Angeles, I did Mad TV, an episode of Mad TV, and Taran was just graduated from LACHSA, and he had gotten into UCLA drama school and dropped out because he got a full-time job on Mad TV. And so we actually worked together. So the first time we did a gala, I was like, oh my gosh, Taran. And he's like, Melina, do you remember working with me? I'm like, I totally remember. So it's great. And some of our students are now the head of cast. One of our students is alumni, is the head of casting for Apple TV, and others are executives in the industry. Some are in totally different industries. Like I said, some are doctors, but support the arts implicitly. And I think, especially in today's world, we just need the arts. We need to have that sort of outlet to express ourselves and look at the beauty of life and get through the tragedy.
Oh, yeah. I have Taran coming on next week also. I'm going to have to bring him up this little story, see if he remembers it.
Yeah, you please ask. And yeah, and the things, some of the skits we did would be completely inappropriate today.
Oh yeah. Um, so you're the producer of the show, also the gala.
Yes.
Now tell us some of the people that are performing on there that people that attend this event can see, because I saw that some people are performing.
Yes, yes. So Mark Mothersbaugh is our big, are coming on and performing with the kids. We have some, mostly it's performances from our current students working with some alumni. And as I said, Taran Killam will be there, Andrew Chappelle will be there. Corbin Blue was going to be there as well, but he went and booked a movie, so we couldn't have him. Which were like the best way for them to say they couldn't, come was because they're booking, and it is a Thursday night, so I understand. But we'll have a couple of surprises too, so it's really wonderful. And like I said, we're going to be giving a luminary. Oh, I don't think I told you this. We're starting an annual tradition of giving an award called the Luminary Award, which is basically just an alum who's gone above and beyond and done things not only in their art form, but also philanthropically and promoting the arts, moving forward, really changing the world with what they do. So we're doing our first annual Luminary Award for one of our alumni, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say who it is.
It's all right. Wait for the surprise, right?
Yeah, but yes. So I'm very excited about that.
Are there any students performing at this too?
Yes, all our current students are performing. That's my favorite part. It's so funny because producing, chairing, directing, whatever, I'm literally writing the script today. I have my day off from my real job, and I'm sitting down doing the script, and it's so fun. Last year we were stuck as the entire world was with COVID. So we did it all online, and we had to get testing, and we filmed this, and we filmed our whole gala. And my highlight is working with the kids. It's just so much fun to be a part of the energy of these young students, and I can't wait to see where they go. My daughter had the most incredible experience. Last year was her senior year, and it was tough during COVID to get through, especially for art schools, she had Anita and West Side Story, and we had to do it online after they had months of rehearsals, right? And so it's tough, but the energy of young artists, and when we finally got to be together to promote, to film our opening number, we did it at the Disney Concert Hall. It was just the energy of all this talent, and they're running around and they're dancing and they're singing, and it's just so glorious. It made me feel like I was 10 again, or maybe 17. But it's a joy. It's a joy to work with them. They're so excited. And they're really ready. They're ready for these programs that they get into. And over my career, I've had a lot of family friends of friends, a lot of Greek relatives and cousins, and asking me, how do I get my kid into this business, and they're artists, they love to sing, they love to dance. It's all about training, and it's all about getting them to be able to explore and do, what we do at LACHSA, and being ready for the opportunity. I think that's what happens. I think every field, regardless of what it is, it's when, the perfect moment arises. So maybe there's a little luck, but being prepared for that perfect moment is the optimum. So what we're trying to do at LACHSA is get these kids prepared, and boy, oh boy, are they ready. They're excited and ready, and you'll see. I mean, if you're in town, I'd love for you to come, Ilya, because it taps into that place in our hearts that made us want to do what we're doing. You're here hosting your awesome show, and you're an artist. You love talking to people, you love creating, you love entertainment, and that's part of who you are. It makes us up. We're a weird breed. But
and this is a thing I do on the side too. I work a job during the day.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, but this is the job you love doing, so it's not a job, right?
Right. No, I love doing this. That's why I've been doing it. There's been times where I've almost stopped it, and my wife has yelled at me not to stop it.
Yeah, you've got it. That's what it is. It's like it's just contagious and exciting, and really prepares these kids for every field, but especially for this one.
Like I work I do IT and I do help desk for I live in a town called East Long Meadow, and I do help desk. So I help. I'm in the schools almost every day, and there's teachers that know that I do this, and they actually want me to go and speak into classrooms about podcasting and about video and about whatever I do behind the scenes.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm talking about. It's hands-on experience, because you know things that people don't know. You know the mystica. How do I say it?
The secrets.
Yeah, the secrets. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. It's I always look at it like when you see behind the green curtain at Oz. You realize, oh wait, this is how it all gets done, or this is what it really is. I mean, it's important, and I think that's what's so great about having working artists. All our teachers are professional working artists. So it's fantastic because they have that hands-on experience like you're talking about. Nobody knows what it's like unless they do it.
So April 28th, how can the listeners find more information on this? Is there a website for this?
Yeah, if you go to LACHSA.org, let me make sure I'm saying it right. LACHSA, I'm going to look it up as we're chatting. It's LACHSA.net is the Los Angeles County High School for the Arts, and LACHSA at LACHSA Foundation. But you can see right there, if you just go to LACHSA.net, it will tell you how to get to the event, and there's also a Zoom link, so you can be living in Greece and come see it. And we would love for people to watch the Zoom link. So I'd love for you, Elias, to see it, and I think your kids will enjoy it too, because you have young performers, and they'll get a chance to see a little taste of what we do.
That's definitely. Melina, I had a couple of questions for you too. Because you said you grew up in Ohio, I assume you grew up with Greek immigrants coming from the country, like we say. How did you decide to become a storyteller, and how did that go with when you're telling your parents you're going to go into the acting world? Because most Greeks are not like that. Most Greeks are going to try to tell you, go be a teacher, go be a doctor, go be an engineer.
Trust me. First of all, I'm the youngest of three girls, but five first cousins that are all women. Wait, what am I talking about? Seven first cousins that are all women. Everybody is a professional. My sister's a lawyer. My cousin Eleni is a doctor. Her sister's a nurse. Has her PhD. I mean, everybody's very, very, very successful. My other cousin's a veterinarian. I mean, all women, all uber successful. And I remember saying to my dad, it's partially my dad's fault, because he'd take us out of school on a Thursday night. We'd actually drive to my Thea's house, that Thea's aunt in Greek, who lived in Long Island. We'd drive the station wagon to Long Island. We'd go see a show on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and this is before the internet, so we would have to go to the library and look up what shows there were. My dad said you could see one big musical, and you had to see a play written by an American playwright, and would talk about it all the way home. And I just got the bug for performing at a really young age. And I remember when it was time for college, I said to my dad, I want to be an actor. And he's like, that's okay. You can go get your teaching degree. You could always teach. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm going to go to college, but I want to get a BFA in acting and musical theater. And he went, and I go, I don't want to be a teacher. I I don't have the patience. I said, Dad, I may never make any money, but I want to do what I love. And, he was really supportive. Now, it might have been because my dad's actually first generation American. My dad was born in this country. It's the Yaya and Papudas, my grandparents. They came from the old country. My mom grew up in Greece, but was born in the States. She grew up and then came back. But I think he said he passed away in 2016, but he was my number one fan, and it didn't really matter. Like, he was very, very, very proud, and he's like, whatever you want to do, I want you to be happy. He goes, I just need you to go to college. And I'm like, okay, Dad, which I'm a firm believer in having that 4 years of experience. I think it's great. And I think, it's great to have an extension and those 4 years to be able to grow and mature and kind of find yourself and live that life experience. I also never say never, because the world changes. So whatever everybody's path is, just get the training. But I remember when I graduated and I moved to New York and I started working, I was doing off-Broadway plays and workshops for musicals and commercials, and I did the guiding light, was my first job out of college, where I had an accent that was very similar to my grandmother's. And I remember they wanted me to get rid of the accent within like 3 months of working. And I said, no, my yaya's been here for like 55 years and she still has her accent, so I can't lose the accent. But I had done a lot of things. I had my own series. I worked with Robert De Niro in a movie, but it wasn't until I starred in Cabaret on Broadway and my dad saw my name up there in the in Times Square.
Yeah.
And, well, actually, he just lost his mind. He was so proud. I mean, he was proud all the way through, but my favorite story is, when there's seats that are empty, they just allow you to have family or, have somebody come in. And my dad was basically in a seat every night at the theater.
Amazing.
And he would be in a different seat every night. And at the beginning, it was like really sweet, and he would just tell me how great I was, and I would be like, oh, thank you, Daddy. And then towards, maybe the 5th or 6th time, it didn't take long, he would start giving me notes. He would be like, listen, honey, I really liked last night's second act ending better than tonight's. I don't know what it was. I don't know how, I'm like, thanks, Dad. he became my director. But, the support of the people who love you along the way in the shaky, I call it the most incredible roller coaster of life. If you get lucky enough to get a seat on the roller coaster in the entertainment world, just hold on and ride it around and the ups and downs, and just be appreciative of getting to do what you love doing for a living. But that was the pinnacle of my dad's joy. And he had been to a couple Emmy Awards when I was nominated, and but seeing me up there on the Broadway stage was his favorite. And
go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so what do you, out of all those projects you mentioned, everything, what do you think was your favorite project and favorite role?
I loved everything I did while I was doing it. I think Providence, playing Sydney Hansen, for me, I'm a Greek girl, so I was always getting Italians, or I played Benita Alden in NYPD Blue, and I played Greeks. I played, when I worked with Robert De Niro, I played a Greek girl, Nicolette Karas. I worked on Guiding Light, I was Greek. So to play a wasp from, New England, it was awesome. And I loved the dream sequences. I loved it, it was my first big show, and I just loved the family part about it, and it was just so much fun. I loved Sydney, and then I really, I enjoyed changing it up, playing a detective, Stella Bonacera. There you go, I'm Italian again. And I started writing on the show I sold a pilot of my own in 2004, And then that was when I started writing, and then I started writing on the show. When I found out that the character, they wanted me to be half Greek, but that was in season 4 when they wanted me to be half Greek. I'm like, I would have played things so differently. But I did write an episode. I was part of the team that wrote a bunch of episodes, but then I had my own in season 5, and I had Stella go back to Greece. I had the murder. It was so much fun. And I've always been an Alexander the Great buff, and my family is from northern Greece, Naousa, close to Thessaloniki, not Naousa, the island, or the city in Paros. But I used to play hide and go seek at Aristotle's school, where he taught Alexander the Great, and Philip's tomb, Alexander's father, was right there in Vergina. So my whole mystery of CSI, my episode, was that somebody was killed with a weapon that was buried with Alexander, because the big secret is we don't know where Alexander's buried. So you learn something from everything you do. And then I am now very, very pleased because over COVID, I sold a series that I'm executive producing, co-writing with my partner, Mark Farrick, who's of The Goldbergs. I don't know if you know that show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was the showrunner of The Goldbergs, and then co-wrote the spin-off, Schooled, with co-created that. So we sold our show to Sony, and Sony sold it elsewhere. So now it's great. So we've written a couple episodes, and that's and I'll be starring in that as well. So it's really fun.
Is this the Greek Candy show?
It's Greek Candy, yeah.
Yes, because I read an article about it. I thought it was originally picked up at IMDb TV, no?
IMDb TV, Amazon's IMDb TV, and right now we're actually pitching it around because it's taking IMDb TV, I think, is changing their whole format.
It just changed today to a new name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're kind of in flux. We're waiting to hear about some stuff. So keep your fingers crossed.
Now, how did you get the idea for this story for Greek Candy?
The Greek Candy is based on my life, actually. My papu came over. My grandfather came over from Greece when he was 18 years old, and all he knew how to do was chocolate. He dipped chocolates, hand dipped chocolates. He was a third generation candy maker, zacharoplastis, pastries, sweets, candies, from northern Greece. And he had a cousin in Europe, in Ohio. And that's how he came, and he would sell the chocolates on the street. He made them in a double boiler, and then he made enough money to rent a space, and then he ended up buying the space. And they got stuck during World War II in Greece. He came back. Long story short, Timo's Chocolates has been a fixture in Akron, Ohio for over 100 years. And my Theo Lawrence, my uncle, and just until COVID, he's 89 years old, hand-dipped every single piece of chocolate. Wow. And I grew up there doing my homework. My niece literally last year was doing her homework. There's no internet. There's a rotary phone. And I'm like, there's got to be some humor in this. There's got to be a comedy somewhere. Right. So it's based on my life. Had I not become an actor, I'd probably still be in Akron running the candy business. And you know how candy business is, they go to their sons, and we're all girls. So it's an interesting dilemma, and there's a whole comedic relief on gender and, roles of the gender roles, and all really fun, and kind of looking at old versus new in today's world. And some of the old ways are worth keeping, and some of them are not, and some of the new things are worth explaining them, and some of them are not. And the humor within that is really fun, especially when you have two sets of grandparents and a lot of love and a lot of chocolate.
Yeah. And if this gets picked up and it gets made, all the Greek people are going to tune in no matter what.
Well, I hope so. I think it's one of those things that, really relates to all all ethnicities in immigrant families. It's also shedding a light on who we are as second and first generation families here in the United States in small towns like Akron, Ohio. There's certain things that are just worth keeping. Some fun Greek traditions, like you and I talked about a little bit before we started the podcast about Greek school and our kids, and it's fun. It's sometimes annoying, and they yell at us that they have to get dressed in their Amalia costumes and go, and always have to wear skirts, and they're not excited about it, but as my father-in-law says in the show, because I love this part. I have my parents and the actors who are going to be playing similarities of my parents and my in-laws, and there's a scene where my father-in-law sees a little boy, wearing a skirt, like a thing over, and his dad's really embarrassed, and my father-in-law goes, "What's the matter?" He goes, "The soldiers in Greece, they wear the skirts. It's fine. It shows you're a strong warrior," and it's fun. I'm having a great time with it.
That's great. I have a picture of my brother wearing one of those, the Tsuyas costume, and every March 25th, I send him a picture. I just text him the picture, and he just laughs about it. Because, like I said, we lived in Greece for a few years, and, March 25th, how big it is there. We have to dress up like them. We got to do poems. We got to do plays.
Right. Oops. I'm sorry. I had that phone ring in our conversation.
So and now we have Easter coming up, Pascha.
That's right. I'm excited. That's the one week out of every year that my husband gets a traditional Greek wife. I make the tsureki, I do the red eggs, and we have about 40 people at 1 o'clock in the morning for Mayeritza every year after midnight mass.
That's right. Melina, lastly, how can the listeners that tune in find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at The Real Melina K.
This was great. Thank you for coming on. Let's get you back on when hopefully the new project, Greek Candy.
Yes, I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Thank you so much, Elia. I wish you good luck and happy Easter.
Kala Pascha.
Kala Pascha.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap, everybody. That's a wrap.
Thanks for listening to the Man Cave Chronicles podcast.
I finally get my man cave.
You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at the MCC Podcast and our website, themccpodcast.com. Until next time.